Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Tuesday. This is The Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 268, titled World Juniors Going Well for Devils Prospects. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios in the bunker in beautiful New Jersey, an undisclosed location. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. If in case you missed it, last night there was no Woo Report, radio silence from the Let's Go Devils podcast, but for good reason. And I said this on the Woo Report episode 267, which was dropped at all of our podcast pages, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart app, Spotify, Amazon Music Prime, Audible, that last night was kind of, let's just say, right before the Woo Report, watching the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati Bengals live, and after that incident, decided not to do the Woo Report. Wasn't interested at that moment. But I did drop a Woo Report, episode 267. Audio version only. Trying something new. Maybe this could be something part of the Woo Report, an audio version only. So, it's tough to do things on camera on the road. But I could pre-record an audio version. Just want to see what your thoughts were. Hello, Ryan Hutner. It says Caden, his son, says hi. Hello, Caden. Can't wait to see you guys again. Can't wait to see you as well. Michael, hey, hello, in the Facebook Live. Your sex 10 times better than Nemitz. They missed on a Hedman-type player. I think that's too early for that, John Tanaka, but duly noted. Ryan Hunter says, I enjoy listening on Spotify to and from work as well. Yeah, we have a lot of commuters that listen to the podcast. The audio version only, haven't seen the live streams, but also we have people that only see the live streams but haven't downloaded any of our podcasts on our podcast pages. Now, before we begin, and John Sunderside would like an audio version, Sam. Yeah, it's, usually when we do the podcast, the live stream, we drop the audio version on our audio pages like Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Spotify. But this time around, I did it all audio version only. So maybe the Woo Report will go put up some more podcasts that way because it's easier. You don't have the live aspect, which was kind of weird, kind of strange, but at least you have something for your morning and afternoon commute. So I'm just doing my little due diligence here, asking you, the fans, if it's worth the time and effort to do that, because I don't mind doing that for you folks. But if nobody's listening, then, what's the point? Anyway, Dave Singer says, yo, peeps. Steve Engel says, what up, peeps? Michael Hayes says, begin next 2 games, only 4 points. Tell you what, the next, 3 games in 4 days, it's going to be tough. It's actually going to be condensed because the Saturday game is going to be a 1 p.m. Eastern start as far as I know. There's no changes there. We'll be at American Whiskey at 51 Edison Place in beautiful Newark, New Jersey, across the street from Prudential Center next to Championship Plaza. I'll be there. Shorts Guy will be there. A lot of Rangers Suck shirts going to be sold at the venue. Remember when we had Ranger Hate Week? We may bring that again. Hopefully this time will be successful. All right, so World Juniors. Team USA, let's start off there. I told you Logan Cooley is going to be awesome. I told you Logan Cooley was my guy at the draft. Devils passed him up, drafted by Arizona Coyotes, and Logan Cooley is having a magnificent World Juniors. I believe he scored 3 goals, the Hattie, if I'm not mistaken. And, yeah, I love Logan Cooley, but I also love Luke Hughes. Luke Hughes, again, wearing the C for Team USA. Luke Hughes developing. Looking pretty good out there at times. At times, I think he's been struggling a little bit, but that's the progression of Luke Hughes. It's going to take some time, folks, but the upside is there. The talent is there. And, boy, he's got a sniper range from the point, doesn't he? Will it translate into the NHL level? We shall see. But just like Jack Hughes, it took some time for Jack Hughes to become Jack Hughes of today. And I'll tell you, loving these prospects. Simon Nemec, Slovakia, out of the tournament. We won't see much of him, courtesy of Connor Bedard, the darling, the favorite to be the first overall pick. But there are some that say maybe not. Could it be another Shane Wright scenario? I don't think so. I think there's enough of Connor Bedard footage to go around where he would be the consensus first overall pick. That's my opinion, of course. But Team USA and Team Canada, the rivalry continues. Supernova 68 asks, any news on Palat? According to Amanda Stein on her Twitter account, he is practicing intensely. Is what Steve Engel says. Palat should be any day now. Ready to go. He's practicing fully. Meow, meow. Jacob Verana, eligible on waivers. Any interest? I like to keep it where it is. I like to keep the Devils where they're at right now. They need to grow as a nucleus, grow as a team. Ryan Graves back in the mix. Ryan Graves with that delay game penalty, but I thought for first game back, not bad. Not bad. Hopefully he can stay in the lineup. Damon Severson, Dougie Hamilton, Ryan Graves, Jonas Siegenthaler. They're all back to playing. Kevin Ball, needs to stop overthinking it at times and just go crazy like Nakia Hoytuk. Just get a little crazy out there. Don't think, do. Steve Engel is dreaming of the top line of Palat, Hughes, and Mercer or Bratt. News on Marino. I think News Marino is still status quo week to week. You know how the Devils are. They're like radio silent on pretty much everything. So to be honest with you, in full transparency, I don't even know. I would just guesstimate that Marino will be back in 2 to 4 weeks. Week to week. Dennis says John Sumner. Greg Best, hello. Also, if you listen to the audio version of the Woo Report, episode 267, you would know that Mac Black, Mackenzie Blackwood, about that story, that Shorts guy, a fine New Jersey public school teacher, was given a Mac Black, Mackenzie Blackwood bobblehead with the jersey on it from an unknown source student in the classroom. I think that's an omen. I think Mac Black is going to prove us all wrong. You heard it here first. Predictions. January 3rd, 2023. Sam Wu predicts that Mac Black is going to black out and blank the opposing teams. Chip on his shoulder. Dennis says, didn't Jonathan Bernier practice a while back then and disappear? It's kind of like the Sopranos episode with Jonathan Bernier. Remember Vladimir Malakoff, how Lou Lamoriello buried that contract off the books with no salary cap casualty? Supernova says, I fear MB is done. No, I think MB is going to be back. Mac Black is back. The goalie tandem is an interesting one because if you've seen some of the statistics, Vitek Vanacek, when his workload is a little heavier, his numbers start to slide, like with most goaltenders, but Vanacek starts to slide a little bit. I think Vanacek needs to play games, but I think a goalie tandem right now is what the Devils are and what they need, and gives Lindy Ruff some options out there. Options. And that's all you want. Options. Tomorrow night, State of the Fan address will be running through the game. Last of like 3 or 4 in a row. All these Wednesday games just piling up. Nick Villano of Pucks and Pitchforks and I will be talking Devils hockey during the game. And then we'll be back to our normal 8:30 p.m. Eastern with 2 guests. State of Fan address presented by pucksandpitchforks.com. But we also have Game Day Live before Devils take on the Detroit Red Wings. And Devils After Dark, after the game, Scotty of SiriusXM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. Nico Hischier and Tomas Tatar did not practice today, taking a maintenance day. They're entitled. They've been playing pretty hard, but we'll play against Detroit tomorrow, which is good. Timo Meyer, maybe. You know what? With the trades, I don't know who's really trading what. It's too far in the future to really speculate who the Devils may bring in. I think right now, I'm kind of wondering how serious are the talks between Jesper Bratt's agent and Tom Fitzgerald, the Devils GM. I think I'd be more focused on that right now than trades. But for trade's sake, you know what? I think the Devils need to get bigger. I mean, Vladimir Tarasenko's name has been circling around, possibilities or possible free agent. The 2023 class, NHL class, is very mighty meaty. And, that's where you can possibly get your beef then. But for now, I think the Devils should stand pat. I think they're fine for now. But once we get to trade deadline, it may be a different story. Let's see here. Seeing some of the comments, questions. But thank you. And I'll try to do more Woo reports during the day, dropping them at sometime during the day for your commute on our podcast pages. Dennis says, yes, Tarasenko and O'Reilly are out for the Blues for at least Thursday's game. Both hurt right now. That's the knock on Tarasenko, that he's injury prone. Would you risk mortgaging some of the future for Tarasenko for a rental? Dave's in here for 4 to 6 weeks. Would you trade for damaged goods at this point? Think about it. Buy low, sell high. Or is what the Devils, anyway. Not going to go there anyway. What else here? Verana. I'm not into Verana, to be honest with you. Tom Wilson, you know what? I think this team does need a Tom Wilson. Who doesn't need a Tom Wilson? I mean, he does all the dirty work for you. I mean, some of those great Pittsburgh Penguins teams that Tom Fitzgerald and Ray Shero navigated had guys like Brooks Orpik, guys like Matt Cook. Yeah, they were dirty, but you know what? Devils had Claude Lemieux back in the day. Doesn't hurt to have the dirty player on your team. Kind of mixes things up. The shenanigans. Anyway, want to thank all those tuning in to the Woo Report. We have a triple, potential quadruple header Wednesday, a podcast. Here on the Let's Go Devils podcast, we may have an audio version dropping it sometime during the day. Also, when you go to our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, a lot of our fans have the iOS device. If you go to the podcast app and you type in Let's Go Devils podcast, our podcast will show up. Do you mind to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast? Give us the 5 stars. Give us a nice comment. And the reason why I'm saying that is some guy decided to give us a 1 star, and it's really hurt us in our visibility. Some jerk. You know, there's always a bunch of haters out there. But the only way to combat hate is with love. So send us some love. Go to our podcast page on Apple Podcasts, even Google Podcasts. I don't really go there, but I'm going to start going there. But go to the Apple Podcasts and give us a 5 star and say, hey, this is a great podcast. Sam Woo, you know, blah, blah. Yeah, a lot of people trash me on those comments. And you know what? We got to bury them. Enough's enough. There's no other podcast that have more comments than our podcast, but I would love to see the comments in the reviews. Make my day. I really appreciate it. Just make my day. Give us a 5 star, subscribe, tell your friends about it, subscribe to our podcast. 5 stars all around. And right now we got 63, I think, comments or ratings or whatever. Let's get over 100. Let's make it all 5 stars. Much appreciated. Rate, review, subscribe to our podcast pages. Go to Apple Podcasts. Type in Let's Go Devils Podcast, and we will be there. Subscribe. Thank you, Supernova. Thank you, Dave Singer. You guys are the best. And, yeah, maybe I'll put some more audio version podcasts. Also, I know Little Fireboy used to like it when I would read my HockeyBuzz.com blog and PucksandPitchforks.com blog as an audio version straight from the text. And, again, I listen to you, the viewers. I listen to you, what your demands are, what would help your Devils fandom, and a lot of people say they don't have time to be reading, but would like to know what's in the article or a blog, so I can read mine out. And I'll start putting that on the audio version of Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and whatnot. And I'm sure Ryan Hutner would enjoy it, you know, as well with his son, Caden. Tony P says Rangers are winning. It never ends. Devils are Jets of the NHL. Tony P, why are you being so Mr. Negative right now? We need some positive. We've got a Saturday matinee game against those pests called the New York Rangers. That's what we're going to be up against. We need your Sopranos attitude and focus. We got to whack the Rangers. Tony P, the guy that looks like Johnny Sack from Sopranos. Good friend of the podcast. Known Tony P for a very long time. Always call him Johnny Sack at the games. If you ever hear any of us yell, Johnny Sack, just look around. He'll be there with Carmine. Anyway, Sopranos reference. Anyway. Team is too soft. Need more beef, says Tony P. You always say the same things, Tony P. How about you change it up a little bit? Let's try that. Supernova 68 says, Dear God, Tony P., do not say such things. Some of these comments are great. All right, I'm dropping the podcast at midnight. The Woo Report, episode 268. World Juniors going well for Devils Product. I can't wait to see Team Canada and Team USA. Prosciutto. Is that how you pronounce it? Alrighty then. All right, so we're getting out of here. We'll be at American Whiskey, I promise. Devils Rangers, beer for breakfast. 1 p.m. Eastern start. Beer for breakfast at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place in beautiful Newark, New Jersey. Playing the music now. Keep on trucking, says Steve Engel. Steve Engel, the mail has been very slow. What's going on with the mail, the Postal Service? My goodness. Just busting your chops, Steve Engel. Just busting your chops. Just jokes. But we're going to leave now. Keep it here. Rate, review, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Give us those 5 stars. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's Go Devils. Like our Facebook page at Let's Go Devils Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Let's Go Devils Pod. Thank you. More podcasts coming soon. Till next time, this is the Woo Report. Let's go Devils.